Wel, anwyl gyfeillio, mae'n bleser arbennig eich croesawu chi yma i ddathliad arbennig iawn i trefnu Cymudol Cymru. It's a huge pleasure to be able, as your patron, to be able to welcome you here to this dinner this evening. It's a huge joy to be the patron of CCC. A patron is a very grand title for a very simple job, because you look on and smile benignly at everything that's happening. My wife Claire said to me, she said, "So are you going to a posh hotel this evening in Wrexham?" And I said, that is not the TCC way. We do things ourselves. But look at the transformation of this place. It's like the poshest place it could ever be in Wrexham as we celebrate this evening. When I think about commitment, I like to talk about 3 levels of commitment. The first level is the commitment of the heart. You've got to believe that something is true, and you've got to be committed to it in the core of your being. And one of the things that TCC is committed to, both for people of faith and people of different faith, is this real sense of commitment to the dignity of every human being and the importance of every human being. And that's a belief to which I'm committed. I think it's a belief that we're probably all committed to this evening in this hall, of the infinite worth and dignity of everyone who makes up our communities. That level of belief is the ground of everything else we do. But we go beyond that. The second level of commitment is the level of commitment to be ready to speak up for your beliefs. I'm afraid bishops are sometimes very good at the speaking up part, and we can speak for long times. Perhaps you're already thinking, gosh, a few words of welcome, Bishop Gregory, time to shut up now, thank you very much. But TCC speaks up for the local community and does more than that. It empowers people to speak up for themselves. And that is a great thing in any community, to empower people to speak about their convictions and to speak about the causes that are close to their hearts. But the highest level of commitment is surely to move from commitment of belief and being ready to talk about things to be ready to act and to bring about change. And that's really why I'm proud to be the patron of TCC, because it is an agent of change. It not only empowers people to speak up for their beliefs, but it brings about change in our communities through the various actions that TCC support and undertake and sponsor. And I know of things that have changed in Wrexham, have changed in North Wales, because of the commitment of the trustees, of the organising committee, of the volunteers, and their readiness not just to believe in the dignity of every human being, not just to speak up for their communities, but to deliver change. And we're celebrating tonight 30 years of commitment to change. So what I want to say to you this evening is, let's have a party. Let's let our hair down and celebrate, because this is something really worthwhile to be celebrating this evening. And my heartfelt thanks for all who take the vision of TCC and turn it into a reality. Diolch yn fawr iawn, diolch o galon.
Good evening. Oh, that's really loud. Wow, I'll stand back a bit. Firstly, can I thank you, Bishop, for your inspirational words. TCC is deeply appreciative of your patronage. We're thrilled that you could join us tonight. Thank you for your continued support. As the current chair of TCC, I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's festivities, which celebrate the 30th anniversary of this amazing charity. To be able to celebrate TCC having thrived for 30 years is incredible. What a fantastic achievement. I recently came across a quote from Barack Obama, and it seemed to me that it could have related directly to the people who were involved with TCC at its inception. He said, and this echoes the words of our patron, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." So many people have played a part over the last 30 years to make this charity what it is today. A powerful, respected, inspirational facilitator for community organising, bringing together an alliance committed to listening, empowering communities, and bringing about positive change. The last 30 years have not always been easy. There have been many challenges, not least the constant need to secure funding. TCC does not accept any government or local authority funding, so relies on grants from various funders, membership dues from our member groups, and perhaps most importantly, funds from people who are part of our supporter programme. Competition for funding is intense. I was shocked to discover in a recent second round meeting with a potential funder last month that 96% of organisations who had applied for that funding had failed to get to the second round. It's testament to the commitment, enthusiasm and expertise of the current and former staff teams at TCC that funding bids have been won over the last 30 years. I know that we're joined tonight by some of our funders. I extend a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for your belief in TCC. We're incredibly lucky to have so many of our member groups represented here tonight. Your membership dues are an important part of our finances. We thank you for that. But your commitment and participation over the last 3 decades is just as, if not more, important. And a special welcome and heartfelt thanks to those who contribute to our supporter programme. Some of our supporters have contributed since the very start and continue to do so, and some are here tonight. We're delighted to be able to share this milestone with you. Everyone here tonight has some connection with TCC, and it's wonderful that so many of you have turned out to celebrate with us and to look forward to what's to come over the next 30 years. When I was asked to speak this evening, it was suggested that I tell my story of how I became involved with TCC. I hope you'll indulge me for a minute or two to talk about someone who inspired me to get involved. I've been familiar with the name of TCC for the last 30 years. My father, the late Reverend Gerald Griffiths, signed the Constitution. He was a priest who joined the ministry fairly late in life at the age of 47. He was an advocate of liberation theology, which promotes actively working to dismantle unjust systems and structures that cause poverty and inequality. It had always troubled him that St. Mark's Church in Kaya Park had never had its own priest, and he badgered the incumbent Bishop of St. Asaph to allow him to serve in Kaya Park. He felt passionate that St. Mark's should have its own priest. So you can imagine why TCC was just up his street. He and my mum were heavily involved for a number of years. So when a vacancy came up for a representative from the church I attend, I put my hand up. I'd like to pay testament to the trustees of TCC, past and present, who have volunteered their skills and their time over the years. It's no surprise that TCC continues to attract the calibre of our current board. We really are blessed to have such great people. I've had first-hand knowledge of the huge difference that TCC has made and continues to make to the lives of those whose voices were hitherto struggling to be heard, and I feel humbled to be a small part of it. It would be wholly wrong of me to conclude without paying testament to the staff of TCC, past and present. I've been involved with the current team for the last 3.5 years. What an inspirational bunch of fantastic people. You can't help but be swept along by their passion and commitment. So tonight we'll hear from a number of speakers who've been closely associated with TCC over the last 30 years. We'll break bread together. There's music and dancing at the end, so hopefully we can echo the words of the band Shalimar. I know not everybody in the room will know who Shalimar is. Certainly Charlotte won't have heard of them. But let's make this a night to remember. And looking forward to the next 30 years, we could maybe resonate with the words of Archbishop Desmond Tutu when he said, "Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world." Thank you for your support of TCC, and have a good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Potter. Well, in 1993, I became a curate in Flint, and that was my first post in the ministry. And within a few months of getting there, a complete stranger came to my door, and she asked if she could have a conversation with me. That stranger was near Higginbottom, and she came back several times. And over time, I began to see what she was on about broad-based organising. Well, 2 years later, I wrote this press release. On May the 22nd this year, 1995, nearly 600 people came together in the Civic Centre in Connors Quay, North Wales, to witness the launch of Trefnu Cymunedol Cymru, TCC, Wales Broad-Based Organising. 2 years of planning, preparation, and many thousands of individual conversations had resulted in 17 mostly church-based groups committing themselves financially and physically in support for this, the first non-urban community organising grouping in Britain. Also present at the launch were the Archbishop of Wales, the Roman Catholic Bishop of Wrexham, leaders of the Welsh and English Methodist Church, Presbyterian and other churches, members of the Muslim community in Wrexham, representatives from Allied Dunbar and the Barrow Cadbury Trust, all of whom had pledged financial support for TCC, as well as civic leaders from Deeside, Flint and Wrexham. Although TCC is predominantly faith-based at the moment, it is not a religious body. It is a civic organisation that seeks to strengthen communities from the grassroots up by building relationships with people from all walks of life who seek a shared valued system. It is non-partisan, but aims to make those with power become accountable to the communities they serve through a process of public negotiation and, if necessary, by putting pressure on them, whether they are local authorities or big business, to do so. At the heart of broad-based community organising is a desire to revitalise democracy by rekindling a sense of responsible citizenship at grassroots level, and a recognition that power belongs to those who exercise it. We are too often the passive victims of other people's decisions about our lives, and TCC seeks to restore confidence in the fact that we are the experts in our own communities, and that we should recover our political voice and say so. If we do our job well, politics will cease to be a dirty word. For the communities involved, there is an ongoing process of evaluation and reflection that seeks always to assess the issues and actions that emerge in community organising in the light of our mutually shared values. This has the effect of both deepening our understanding of our own values and self-interest and of strengthening our relationships with others as we begin to understand and respect the values and self-interest that motivates them. Broad-based organising has been effective in changing the political landscape in rural communities in North America and in many other countries in the world. We confidently expect the same to happen here. That was 30 years ago. And now look at us. What an amazing story we've had. And I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved, some like me from the very start, but others more recent members, for making such a success of broad-based organising here in North East Wales. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Noswaith dda, Jenny Hurd ydw i. Good evening, I'm Jenny Hurd. Way back on the 1st of September 1999, I started my second circuit appointment as a Methodist minister. My role was as the superintendent of the former Glanau circuit in the Old Cymru district of the Methodist Church, a circuit of some 13 churches, mostly working and worshipping through the medium of Welsh and mostly in Flintshire. My first Sunday service in my new circuit was at Bethel Chapel in Flint Mountain, and I was asked by the organist, Mrs. Meg Wall, if I'd like to attend the TCC meeting with her in Wrexham the next Thursday evening. She tried to explain TCC to me, but I had no idea what she was talking about, so I thought I'd better find out for myself, and I accepted her invitation, and I'm so glad that I did. I was blown away by the meeting, run efficiently by group reps, but overseen by Nia Higginbottom. I was impressed by the breadth of the groups represented, by the enthusiasm and commitment of those present, and by the disciplined but enjoyable way in which the meeting was conducted. I was very taken by the careful timekeeping throughout the meeting, and with the evaluation process held at the very end, offering everyone the opportunity to give their feedback on the process. I hope it's an approach that has continued to influence me in my wider work. It certainly got things done. Soon I discovered that 2 other churches from the Glanau circuit were involved in TCC, and I thought I'd better get on board myself, not least to show my support for them, and again, I'm very glad I did. From those early days, I remember the excellent community organising training held at Noddfa Retreat Centre in Penmaen Mawr, as well as a very special leadership training session with the Reverend Art Gafka, a notable community organiser from the US, which was held in Crewe. If anyone can tell me why we were in Crewe, I'd really like to know. I draw on principles learned at both those sessions to this day, such as the concept of being a non-anxious presence as a leader, and I remain grateful for them. Pieces of work undertaken by TCC at the time included challenging the Castle Cement Company, action on fair trade, and acquiring a ramp for the post office on Flint High Street. When I moved back to serve in England in 2004, being part of TCC was something I missed most, but it had changed my ministry for the better. Come 2013, and I returned to serve as District Chair of Synod Cymru, which joined with Wales Synod in 2022 to form our bilingual Methodist work in Wales. It wasn't long before I was contacted and asked if I would join TCC's trustees. I jumped at the opportunity. I was also privileged to serve as chair, and although the nature of my new role meant I couldn't be as involved in actions as before, I felt that this was a way in which I could contribute, and I served for a total of 6 years. The commitment of the staff and the other trustees was inspiring, though there were challenges, not least in recruiting new trustees for the work. 2 significant actions stand out for me from this period: securing a women-only swimming session at Wrexham Pool and working towards free school meals for Wales's children, something very dear to my heart. The COVID-19 pandemic was a challenging time for the whole of society, but TCC's ethos and way of working surely stood it in good stead, and it is a joy to be celebrating today. Thank you for the opportunity to share these memories with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Farooq Jishi. I'm a representative from the Wrexham Muslim Association and the Wrexham Mosque. I'm proud to say that we are one of the founding members, along with Reverend Chris Potter, going back 30 years. I thought I'll give you a little talk about how we all started and sort of my story through these 30 years. Just as was mentioned earlier by Reverend Chris Potter, I had a phone call from Nia Higginbottom, and she said, "Oh, okay, can I come and see you to talk about community organizing?" And I didn't know what she was talking about. So she came along one evening, and I thought, well, 10, 15-minute talk, and, give her a cup of tea, and that'll be it. And it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours, we were chatting about all kinds of things, the issues in the community, the things that needs to be done, the organization that needs to be done, how to go about it, and all those sort of things. And that's how sort of I initially got interested and got involved. And one of our first preliminary sort of planning meetings took place in Kepligros. And one of the inspiring persons who were there that hasn't been mentioned was Sister Sheila. She was in charge of the nuns' Justice and Peace Center, and they were so kind to give us the accommodation for free over all these years. And she was an inspiration at the time. And then obviously we went about and we were asked to, as Muslim Association, to join TCC, and we were not really very sure, what are we going to do about it? What is this all about? So we took advice. We took advice from one of the biggest mosques in Northwest, which is in Liverpool, and we talked to them, and they said, of course you should join, and you'll be making a difference in the community, you'll be solving issues, and not only that, it will be advantage to you as well by meeting other community leaders and politicians and everything else. And they very much encouraged us to join, and that's what we did. And Barack Obama has been mentioned. I think we often used his name when we went around recruiting. They said Barack Obama started his political career as a community organizer. I said, oh yeah. And that was one of our sort of selling points in getting people to join TCC, either as trustees or just as members. And we have had all kinds of members. I mean, predominantly we said that there are religious-based organizations, but we had others as well. There was the Parkinsonian Society, there was the cardiac rehabilitation people, and there were other sort of smaller groups. Some of them joined for a while their issues were being raised, and when they got their objectives, they left, but others have obviously stayed with us. And it was some years later as we went along, when we actually joined, we didn't have a mosque, we didn't have a place of worship of our own. The university, which was then Newey at the time, Polytechnic, had kindly given us a small porta cabin where we used to meet on Fridays and for our Friday prayers. But we were a registered organization, and we had been struggling to get a place of our own, but it was very difficult. We didn't have the money, we didn't have the organization, we didn't know how to go about getting organized enough. And so we approached TCC, and they were very kindly said, yes, we'll take up your project. And at that time, there were a lot of community centers being closed, some schools were being closed. So we said, well, perhaps the council can give us an accommodation that we will, on a lease, on a rent. And so a team of us went to see the chief exec. And in that team, there were 4 clergymen, and I think you were there, Reverend Potter. There were four clergymen, and myself and Dr. Shah, and they were all wearing their collars. And the chief exec just looked around and said, "I'm confused," he said. Have you come for a mosque? But all I can see is the majority of the people here are clergymen, Christians. What's going on? They said, "We are from TCC and we are all together here and we are supporting for the establishment of a mosque." And it went on from there. The long negotiations went on. They offered us a place for a lease of about 2-3 years or things like that. And we were on the verge of signing the lease agreement when different things happened. There was a financial crash, and the prices of things went down, of properties went down, and other properties came on the market, so that project was dropped. But as an organization, we'll be ever grateful to TCC for helping us at the time of our need, not only in sort of coming with us to the council and raising issues, but in helping us to sort of organize ourselves in the first place, and how to be leaders and how to go about doing things. Some of the projects that we have achieved have been mentioned, like living wage and free school meals, and some of the other things. But one of the biggest achievements, not by ourselves but along with others, was the incinerator project in Wrexham. If it was not for TCC and some of the other groups that helped us, you would have had one of the biggest incinerators in the country or in Europe sitting in Wrexham and spurting out all kinds of toxins in the air. And it was our campaign that stopped the council from going in for incineration and completely changing their policy towards recycling. And then obviously we had the free school meals project, which actually started here and then became a national project. And the same thing with living wage. We were very much involved in that, and gradually the council became a signatory to it, and obviously later on the whole of Wales became a signatory to living wage. So we have achieved a lot over the last 30 years, and we look forward to the next 30 years. Thank you very much.
Well, noswaith dda, good evening. Honestly, I was a youth voice when I heard for the first time about Trefnu Cymunedol Cymru, TCC. In my youth, that's when TCC first came into my life, really. Diolch am y cyfle I gynrychioli Capel y Groes efo Trefnu Cymunedol Cymru heno. I'm representing Capel y Groes this evening. A dwi eisiau sôn am enwau rhai sydd wedi cyfrannu llawer yn y gorffennol pan oeddwn ni yn aelod ifanc yn y capel. Miss Glenys Roberts, roedd hi wedi gweithio yn dawel a llwyddiannus I ledaenu y wybodaeth am TCC. Miss Glenys Roberts, who was my deacon in my 20s and 30s, thought the world of TCC, and she roped us in also to go to different events and contributed to its success. A dwi eisiau hefyd talu teyrnged I ddau a roddodd lawer iawn o'i hamser a'i gweledigaeth I TCC yn y cyfnod pan oeddwn ni wedi bod yn weinidog. Yn ddiweddar iawn fe gollon ni Elwyn Williams. The late Elwyn Williams was so supportive of TCC for as long as he could be, challenging things on a local level, but he also had been one of the leaders of the youth service when that was based at Shire Hall in Mold. Roedd o wedi bod mewn rhai cyfarfodydd efo fi yn yr eglwys ac yn Acton hefyd, ers i mi ddechrau yn 2019 fel gweinidog, ac roedd ei sylwadau wastad yn berthnasol ac yn disgwyl y gorau gennym ni gyd. Elwyn had a wonderful world vision of what was possible, and he contributed to many societies and was well liked. And even in his final illness, he would still recall contributions he had made for the good of society and local issues through TCC. A heno, mae'n rhaid I mi hefyd sôn am Menna Davies. Roedd hi yn gefnogol iawn I holl waith trefnu cymunedol Cymru ac yn sôn bob cyfle am ymgyrchoedd TCC ac yn gwneud ni gyd rwsyd yn rhan ohonyn nhw yn y capel. We lost Menna Davies in the early years of my ministry at Capel y Groes, but she believed earnestly in the mission of TCC. And when I was in the congregation, she would draw me to some meetings and update us about the good work of TCC. Roedd Menna yn hybu trefnu cymunedol Cymru ac yn enyn ein diddordeb nina dros iawnderau pobl a gwella sefyllfaoedd lleol. Ac roedd hi wrth I bodd pan oedd rhywbeth yn dod I fwcl. Fe fuasai Glenys, Elwyn a Menna wrth I boddau yn cael bod yma heno I ddathlu pen-blwydd arbennig trefnu cymunedol Cymru yn 30 oed. Ac yn ddiweddar hefyd, rhaid I mi ddeud, pan mae TCC yn ymweld â'r capel, mae Marian Jones a Siwan Jones a Morgan Peters hefyd wedi bod yn rhoi mewnbwn yn y dyddiau diweddara yma. Recently, Marian, Siwan and Morgan also have helped TCC. Pob dymuniad da I TCC yn y dyfodol. All the best for the future of TCC. Diolch yn fawr.
Hello everyone, I'm Scarlett and I first got involved with TCC 9 years ago through my school group St Joseph's. I joined TCC because it offered the opportunity to create positive change and promote social justice in my school and local community.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia. I also first got involved with TCC through St Joseph's. I was drawn to TCC because I wanted to help people and make a difference in areas that matter to me and other young people.
All children under the UNCRC have the right to a standard of living that supports their full physical, mental, spiritual, moral and social development, according to Article 27. For this to happen, all children should have access to enough food in school.
We care about fairness and equal opportunities. When we discovered that some students were going hungry at school, we knew something urgently had to be done. A questionnaire completed by 305 young people at my school revealed that 30.1% had to skip a meal at school due to a lack of money in their account. The issue of child poverty is not just about statistics, it's about real lives. I remember classmates who skipped lunch because they couldn't afford it, which meant they couldn't focus in the classroom.
Child poverty goes beyond hunger. Pupils reported that it affected their mental health. They felt embarrassed or anxious because they couldn't pay. The stigma surrounding this issue impacted students' well-being even further, showing that child poverty is not just about food, but is also about dignity.
The No Hungry Learners campaign was developed and launched by and for young people to make sure every student had access to food during the school day. I, along with other TCC young members from St Joseph's, helped gather stories and meet with power holders such as our head teacher, Mr Wilkinson, local councillors Ken Skates, Leslie Griffiths and Wrexham's education lead councillor Phil Wynne. Seeing the campaign grow from student voices and experiences to meetings with decision makers like the Children's Commissioner for Wales and members of the Senedd made me feel particularly empowered. It proved that our voices matter and that together we can make a difference.
The impact of the No Hungry Learners campaign led to questions being raised in the Senedd and the presentation of the campaign at the National Child Poverty Summit in Swansea. Most importantly, it was a step towards ensuring parity of experience for students at St Joseph's and upholding their rights.
TCC has taught me that my voice is important, that as a young person, I am an expert by experience. By starting small, finding others who care, and speaking up, we can and have created positive change together. Seeing other young people asking questions and getting involved in social justice in their communities gives me hope.
TCC has equipped me with the confidence and skills to create change and advocate for the views of my peers in many areas of my life, including university, my work with the North Wales Health Board through the Children's Charter, and with Wrexham's Youth Parliament. More importantly, it's given me hope that creating change is possible. It's encouraged me to celebrate the small wins and inspired me to demand better for young people, now and for future generations.
Thank you for listening. And now we would like to present young leaders from St Joseph's School with certificates of achievement for facilitating their own youth assembly with a focus on young minds and youth mental health. We would like to call to the stage Noah, Annabelle, Philip, Phoebe and Freya.
This is totally off script, but working with these young people, honestly, is so inspiring. I can't believe it's just so emotional. It's so inspiring, and they are our future. So I ask you all in this room today, as friends of TCC, as members of TCC, please take an interest in what these young people are doing and support them as much as you can. They are our future and the future of TCC. So thank you to them again.
Okay, we welcome you back, and hope you welcome us back as well. And we hope you enjoyed your meal. And this evening is not just about recognising achievements, it's about honouring the passion, the dedication and the courage that each of you brings to our communities. These awards are a chance to shine a light on the people and groups who go above and beyond, who inspire change and who remind us what's possible when we work together.
Croeso nôl, a gobeithio wnaethoch chi fwynhau eich pryd o fwyd. Ni dim ond am gydnabod cyflawniadau yw heno, mae o am anrhydeddu'r angerdd, ymrwymiad a dewrder. Mae pob un ohonych chi yn cyfrannu un cymunedau. Mae gwobrau hyn yn gyfle i daflu goleuni ar y bobl a'r grwpiau sy'n mynd tu hwnt a mwy, a sy'n ysbrydoli newid a sy'n ein hatgoffa ni am beth sy'n bosibl pan dyn ni'n gweithio efo'n gilydd.
And the evening's first category is, how long do you have to pause that? In this? The Community Champion Award. And the Community Champion Award recognises individuals who go above and beyond to support, uplift and strengthen their local community. This award celebrates those who embody the spirit of community, demonstrating leadership, compassion and a commitment to creating lasting positive change. We have 2 recipients for this award, and the winners are Margie from Atir Agurith. Is Margie here? Coming up. And Jane from UR UK. Can you please give a round of applause?
Well, the evening's second category is the Community Outreach Champion Award. And the Community Outreach Champion Award is a recognition given to individuals who have made outstanding contributions to their local community through outreach, advocacy, and service. Recipients of this award are typically those who demonstrate leadership, compassion, and a strong commitment to making a positive impact. The winner of this award is Penakai Church of the Nazarene.
Hey. Now, the evening's third category is the Outstanding Youth Contribution Award. And this award recognises the exceptional commitment and positive impact made by our young people. Their efforts reflect the values of compassion, collaboration, and active citizenship. And we are proud to celebrate their achievements, including the successful school hunger campaign. So the winner of the award is St. Joseph's Catholic and Anglican High School. Brilliant work, fantastic, well done. Hey.
Noswaitha Paub. On behalf of the St. Joseph's High School TCC group, thank you for being part of the 30th anniversary celebration of this great organization. We are so honored to have been nominated for this award by TCC and grateful to receive recognition for the impact our young leaders have made on the community over the past 20 years. My name is Reverend Laura. I am the Anglican chaplain at St. Joseph's, and for the last few years, I've had the joy and the privilege of being the link teacher for the TCC group, and to witness firsthand the efforts of our pupils to make a difference in their corner of the world. From tackling Wrexham's school dinner debt, to being a school of sanctuary, to leading their peers in addressing mental health issues, our young people have blown us away with their dedication and hard work. As a faith school, we are proud of the way that our pupils have represented not only St. Joseph's, but how in their efforts they have also been ambassadors of the Christian faith, which teaches us to follow in Christ's footsteps and serve God by serving others. While the pupils have been absolutely brilliant, we know that our group did not get nominated for this award on our own. We are indebted to many people, some of whom are here this evening. First and foremost, we would not be here without the guidance of Ruth Marshall of TCC. Week in and week out, Ruth guides, empowers, and challenges our group to think outside the box, imagine the world as they would like it to be, and then put things in place to work toward that vision. Her creativity, kindness, and infectious passion inspire our group to achieve things we wouldn't normally think were possible. Stephen has faithfully documented and crafted our campaigns, and David and Justin and Sue have been an encouraging presence as well. We have learned so much from all of them and appreciate them taking time to work with us. Thanks also goes to Michelle Woodward, who ran the TCC group at the school for many years before me, and Heidi Rowe, whose support as a member of the senior leadership team has been invaluable. Thank you to the organizations like Mind Our Future that have worked with our students and given them insight into the issues our community is facing. Thank you to local and national representatives for listening to the pupils and taking them seriously. Thank you to trustees, funders, volunteers, and our patron. And finally, thank you to the parents who have dropped their kids off for various events and AGMs and allowed them to go on school trips. Without your support, we very literally would not be here tonight. It is often said that young people are the future, but in my many years working with youth in various parts of the world, over and over again, I am reminded that young people are also the present. Ruth frequently reminds the group that just because they are young, it does not mean that they are powerless, and boy had they proven her right. On behalf of the St. Joseph's TCC group, Diolch o Galon, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We are so grateful to be a part of TCC and look forward to continuing our work together to shape a better future for Wrexham and beyond.
And the fourth category this evening is the Environmental Action Award. And this Environmental Action Award is a recognition given to a person who has made a significant contribution to protecting or improving our local environment. This award honours those who take meaningful action, whether through conservation projects, reducing waste, promoting biodiversity, or inspiring others to live more sustainably. And the winner of the award is Rob Owen. So.
Croeso. The fifth category this evening is the Campaign of the Year Award. Now, this award is presented to the group whose efforts brought together community voices, raised public awareness, and successfully influenced change. Community organising and campaigning are vital tools for social change. They empower individuals and groups to stand up for what they believe in, to challenge injustice, and to build stronger, more inclusive communities. This award celebrates not only the outcome of the campaign, but the spirit of collective action that made it possible. So please, can you give a round of applause to the representatives from the Flintshire Coastal Path Accessibility Group as they come up on stage. Yeah.
A good Scouser never stands back and lets other people talk. Thank you very much. This campaign started 8 years ago when somebody from Denbighshire contacted me and said, I want to go to Flintshire, but the coastal path is stopping us with the barriers. Mark Isherwood and I met with lots of officers who told us it was their fault for having mobility scooters that were too big. We challenged it, and we got nowhere. The doors were slamming in our faces. About 3 years ago, we joined forces with disability organisations, because it's everybody's right to live the life that they choose, to live independently, where they want, with whom they want, and how they want. I can go on the coastal path. I'm disabled, but I can go on the coastal path. But somebody in a mobility scooter can't. But they can now. Right. And the way it happened was Cycling UK, Wheelability, Eileen Morgan from Chester, Councillor Debbie Owen, Mark Isherwood MS, and Flintshire Disability Forum. We haven't been Flintshire Disability Forum for 17 years. FDF, Centre for Independent Living. We are the only centre for independent living in the north of the country. And now disabled people have the right to go where they want, how they want, from the west of the coastal path right through to Chester, to do what you and I can do every day. Thank you very much.
Well done.
And our last category this evening is the Reflection and Recognition Award. And this award is a tribute to the many individuals who have been part of TCC over the past 30 years. People whose dedication and vision have helped shape the landscape of social justice in North East Wales. Tonight, we honour someone who not only carries forward the legacy of those remarkable change makers, but who has also made an outstanding personal contribution through his many roles within TCC. His continued commitment to creating positive change in our communities is both inspiring and deeply appreciated. The winner of this award is Farouk Jishi.
Thank you, and congratulations to all those award winners. Thank you very much.
Noswaith dda, pawb. Mae'n hyfryd weld chi gyd heno. My name's Kelly. I wrote some words down, but they're not very good. So I'm going to forget them for a minute and just speak a bit more freely after having listened to lots of lovely things tonight. I recognise a lot of people here. Some of you know me, others don't. I used to work with TCC as a community organiser, and I'm sat next to a new person tonight, and I was introducing, oh, this person's done this person's done that, and there's just too much here to even list all the passion, all the work that people do. And sometimes I miss being an organiser because I always used to describe it as herding cats and rabble-rousing, because that's what it feels like when you're organising people. And now, funnily enough, my connection to TCC, very luckily, is I work for Lloyds Bank Foundation, and we fund some work that TCC's been doing in collaboration with other organisations around anti-poverty. And one thing I've always remembered from community organising training is that power is organised people plus organised money. So now I see myself a little bit like Robin Hood, essentially trying to redirect some funds to community efforts where there's just obscene inequality in this world, and we all see it. And literally, I was just talking before to say that in a given week, I could literally be in a homeless shelter or in a refuge or something where people are really suffering. And then literally another night, I'll be at a dinner with a billionaire. Like, it's literally obscene, the inequality in this world. And one thing I love about TCC and everything we've acknowledged about the 30 years that have brought people to this point is that people don't accept that. And just because it's normal and we're used to it doesn't mean it's right. So, yeah, my notes were literally pointless. But just thinking ahead now, 30 years away is a long time to think, and we probably can't imagine it. But maybe we can think about the next 3 years and the challenge ahead. There's plenty going on that we see people trying to divide, people trying to stoke fear. And, well, I'm assuming, given the audience here, that most of us don't like those feelings of division and fear and negativity. But what we like is this. We like community and togetherness and a bit of hope and a bit of positivity and a bit of determination and quiet perseverance at times, or not so quiet, depending on your personality. Yeah, so that's really what I want to say, is looking to the future now. We've got in Wales a massive Senedd election coming up, which will be pivotal. It's a transformative election. And we need to hold whoever we vote in, we need to hold them to account, because they're meant to represent us. And the choice is you either vote better people in, or you stand yourself, or you speak up and you make sure that what they're doing, whatever level of decision making, you make sure they're doing what needs to get done. And there's some really good ones, there's some really good elected representatives, but community's more than that. And it's grassroots and it's ordinary people just going to parish council meetings or community council meetings, all these things, every day, little things, sometimes pretty thankless. I know David, for example, I can't see him, but the number of meetings and minutes that, the number of minutes that you read and try and engage with, sometimes really thankless, dry work. But this is where decisions get made, and sorry, I probably should have stuck to a script because I'm starting to go on. But what I want to say as well, perhaps I'm modelling it a bit, is that authenticity matters. I think most of the campaigns that I've seen succeed in North Wales through TCC have come because people with lived experience who know what they're on about have actually got organised and done something, and they've spoken and they've acted based on what they know, and no one can take that from you if you know it. So I think moving forwards, thinking about the next 3 years and the challenge ahead in terms of bringing people together, 30 years is brilliant, but it's generational. So now is a time to be passing on a baton and carrying on that kind of relay. So I think just with that in mind, I just encourage everyone who's here tonight just to be real and to listen to each other, to keep reaching out to people that might be different to you or you might think are different to you. But actually, one thing we've all got in common, I think, here is decency and actually caring. So that's my little nudge. Forgive me, Stephen, if that's not what you wanted me to do. But a bit of encouragement to just keep on being real and speaking up. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we close, we've got some extra gifts that we'd like to give out. You want me to do this first?
Big thank you to Kelly.
Big thank you to Kelly. So thank you very much for that poignant speech and the nudge, the well-needed nudge. I think you put it very clear that, it is generational. I couldn't find those. Kelly's great with words. So, yeah, it's generational, and we do need to get together more and get to know each other more, have more conversations. So thank you very much, Kelly, for that.
I'm just going to put a quick plug in. David? Where's David? Hand up, David. Shall I put a plug in for your accountability meetings? So would you like just to step up and tell people? Come on, David. David's the person.
TCC holds accountability meetings for elections, and those range from Senedd elections, county council elections last year, it was a general election. These accountability meetings are not like hostings. We give the candidates the questions beforehand. We give them no right to reply. We want to work with every politician who can make change for us. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I've sent an email out to member groups, and I know that a few have come back to me. We're going to be organising the Senate election. As Kelly was saying, it's going to be really important this time. I think there are more members of the Senate going to be voted in as well. There's going to be 6 in each constituency, larger constituencies. But I think it's really important that we hold politicians and we hold candidates to account. So before May, when the election is, we'll be holding face-to-face meetings, and we would love to be involved. If you want to become part of our steering group, our issue group, organise the meetings, tell us how you want the meetings to run, who you want to invite, who do you want to hold to account. So if you want to become involved, email office@TCC or give us a ring or just say hi if you see us anywhere. And yeah, so we can get the politicians or candidates to give proper answers and know that lived experiences are really, really vital. Thank you.
So shortly, we'll move on to the informal celebration part of the evening, and we will be inviting Charlotte, one of our brilliant trustees, to cut the cakes. But firstly, we've got some thank yous we'd like to give.
Yes, we've got thank yous. Sorry, I went astray. After dinner, I went astray then. Yeah, so first of all, we would like to invite the lovely Sophia up to say thank you for all the volunteering she's done with us the last few weeks, helping us to prepare everything. So Sophia, come on up.
Now, we would like to extend huge thank you to Pat and Maggie, the St Union sisters, who have provided TCC with accommodation and care and support for the last 30 years. Maggie and Pat are what Maggie likes to call our non-management supervision, who is always there telling us to eat and keep warm and look after ourselves.
And stop saying over so late.
Yes, go home, Susan.
Go home.
It's nearly 7 o'clock. So we would like to invite Pat and Maggie to come up. I think we might get told off on Monday.
Well, I think Pat and I are probably the last in a fairly smallish but number of sisters, and we have been so glad on behalf of our congregation, La Sainte Union, to be able to host TCC and to be part of a great tradition. Thank you all.
Next, I'd like to thank the lovely Lara from St. Joseph's for turning up every Monday. Come on. We spend almost every Monday together for half an hour of mayhem, and it's wonderful. So we just want to say thank you so much for everything you do.
And lastly, but definitely by no means least, we want to say a big thank you to Melissa Griffiths, our fantastic Chair of Trustees. Melissa is an absolute wonder. She's kind, she's supportive, she's inspirational. She is an amazing support for Ruth and I, and we just cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for us for the last couple of years, and we hope that you will continue with us for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so this is the end of people talking on here. We hope that you continue to talk to each other. So just after we step down from here, we will be asking you all for a group photograph. And I'm noticing, I whispered to Sue earlier, actually from here you all look wonderful. So we'd love to ask Justin to come and take a picture of you all here, if that's okay, from this view. And then we will go down, we will cut cake with Charlotte. And also, we have a guest book, which we will keep very safe in a time capsule for another 30 years, and we'll get it out. So we would really love if you could write some comments, or even if you feel that you want to make a pledge to your community and to change making, put it in our guest book, and we will keep it. And that's it, really, I think.
So we've got one last paragraph.
We've got one last paragraph.
In fact, we've got two.
Oh.
I think you've just done that one. So
yeah,
we'll just go to that one.
I just went wild.
Why not? So lastly, we'd like to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. We as a staff team, and I think I can speak for the trustees, are so thrilled that everybody has come out on such a terrible evening. We were expecting to have lots of empty seats, so actually having everybody in the room is amazing and a testimony to people's commitment to TCC. Take my glasses off, bear with me, I can't see now. So we would like to invite you to raise a glass and commit to supporting another 30 years of change making across North East Wales and beyond.
So together, let's turn the next 30 years into a legacy of courage, kindness, and unstoppable change, because our future is built by the bold hearts in this room. Thank you, everybody. Get the music on, Stephen.